Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the Porter Says podcast with your host and only host Heath. All right. I'm not going to take up too much time with this one. I just kind of want to get straight into everything because I am filming quite late in the week. It's currently a Thursday night, and usually this would be up, ready to go on Friday afternoon, but for some reason I've just kind of lacked motivation to film, I guess. But it will most likely be up Saturday afternoon, 4 p.m., same time as a Friday. I just kind of maybe trying to come up with a better way to get you guys more engaged. I didn't just want to, I kind of wanted to think really before I decided to film, and so okay, what can I really do? How can I make this seem like there's genuine effort put into it? And you know, I don't want to bored you guys from watching this, because I really like doing this podcast, and I like the people who are watching it and who are supporting me, and I appreciate the people who are, you know, yeah, so I figured I'd just get that little thing out of the way. I just kind of was thinking about that. Um, but let's go. You guys know the drill by now. I guess I'll start with the fact that on the weekend, the previous weekend, I took a trip, and for the weekend, and I went to the Harry Potter exhibition, just with my dad and an old co-worker. And I didn't know what to expect from this one. Like, a lot of people say it was like a really cool exhibition and stuff like that. And I'd been to one in Sydney when I was like 11 or 12 years old. And I gotta say, the exhibition was pretty fun. It wasn't anything amazing. It wasn't like a transformative experience, but it was cool to see a lot of the costumes that we used in the films, and the props and stuff like that. And I loved hearing the music. I loved the atmosphere. The sets and stuff like that they had were really cool. Like, there's a set for Hagrid's hut, where you get to go and sit at the table, and there's obviously Harry's cupboard under the stairs, which I didn't get a photo of, but I took a decent amount of photos, so I'll try and put them up on the screen for you to have a look at, because I know there are fans of Harry Potter, I would assume, who are watching this, and even if you're not a fan, it's just, it was I figured have something to look at other than just my stupid face. But overall, I'd say it was really cool. It was a pretty cool exhibition. I liked all the interactive stuff you got to go up with. Like, got to go and had this like little wristband or something, and you'd hook it up to there, and or not hook it up, but you'd hold it into a little symbol, and it would, you got to have your own Patronus and stuff like that. You got to pick your Hogwarts house, and you got to go to like the divination room, little classroom that they kind of had set up. They also had a room that was like dedicated to each house of the school, and they had like a Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them area, which was cool, even though I'm not, too big into those movies. First one's okay, but the rest are kind of like eh. But yeah, so overall it was a pretty cool experience, and I'd highly recommend you go. Yeah. And speaking of which, that will actually lead into the news, which I'm going to talk about now. I just wanted to get the exhibition out of the way. I figured that would be the first little topic of this episode, so I hope you're enjoying so far, and should have said at the beginning, but thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, we got a pretty big piece of news regarding the HBO Harry Potter TV series. We have our new trio. Yes, the new trio has been officially cast, and they're supposedly going to start filming in July of this year, even though there was like some set photos or something that I showed in the last episode. Yeah, so we have the trio, and I will put a photo up on the screen, obviously. Um, but it's pretty cool, and I will, tell you guys the names of these, of who they are. So you've got Dominic uh, McLaughlin as Harry Potter himself, Arabella Stanton as Hermione Granger, and Alistair Stout as Ron Weasley. I'd say so far with this casting, they definitely have the looks of the characters, and I wish them nothing but the best. I think they're gonna do a good job, and even though I don't have the biggest hopes, and I'm not super excited for this TV series that's coming supposedly in 2026, I still am gonna watch it just because I love the world, and I do like the cast that they have gotten so far. They're gonna do a good job. Don't go and send these kids hate. That's the worst thing you can do, ever, or one of the worst things. So yeah, that's the first bit of news, and then the second bit of news is that Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars have been delayed. So Avengers Secret Wars, Avengers Doomsday, is now coming out in December of 2026, and Avengers Secret Wars, December of 2027. The delay doesn't really bother me that much, to be honest. It kind of, for me, it shows maybe they're going to put some more effort into it, and not just like release it as soon as they possibly can. So I'm fine with it. Delays don't bother me that much, really, depending on what the project is. But if I'm honest, I'm excited for these Avengers movies, but it's not like Endgame or Infinity War level. So, but I once again do have faith that Marvel can get back to its glory days, and hopefully these Avengers movies could do that. I guess that means maybe Spider-Man Brand New Day might get released earlier, potentially. So who knows, really? Who knows? I think it should get moved up, but I highly doubt it will. So I guess those are the biggest news for me, really. I think the Harry Potter casting for me is probably more exciting just because it's that world. It's the world of Potter. So it's gonna be good, I hope. Okay. So I guess I am going to review. So I saw it last week, and I've had a good week to think about it now. The newest Disney live-action film, Lilo and Stitch. So that'll be towards the end, as it usually is. But I did watch a couple of other movies. So I'll get those two out of the way. Earlier this morning, I watched Fear Street Prom Queen, which was the newest Fear Street film. And I talked about it a few episodes previous. And I saw, once the movie was released, I think it was like last Friday, I didn't get a chance to see it the night it was released because I was on a plane to Melbourne that night. But I saw a decent amount of negativity towards it. And I was like, oh, I thought people were going to really like it because it's Fear Street, and the previous three were all solid films, which I might review those at some point. I actually was, just before I started filming, I actually started watching 1978. So maybe expect a review series of the three in one of the next ones. You never do know. But as for Fear Street Prom Queen, in my opinion, it was nowhere near as bad as people made it out to be. That being said, it's not really that good of a movie. It's I guess with the positives, it oozes the 80s vibe. Like it's like with the music choices and the clothes that they were wearing and the hairstyles of a lot of characters. I thought the gore was pretty good. It was pretty, yeah, I'd say pretty solid. The kills, not anything amazing. Were still, pretty violent. And I liked our main character of Laurie Granger, I believe was her name. I hope we see more of her, but I maybe I don't know if we will. So, because there's a billion books in this series that R.L. Stine wrote, so who knows? But other than that, really, like the movie's like pretty generic, and the design of the slasher is the killer or whatever. Like it's just a generic red robe and a mask, and he wields an axe and all that. And the killers, as I was watching the movie, I was trying to figure it out because there's two of them. Well, actually, I'll get to that in a minute. There's obviously two killers, and I was like, oh, and then towards the end, I was like, oh my god, I know exactly who it is. And then they revealed it. I'm like, yep. And then I'm like, wait a minute, there was two killers. Then it has to be this person. So it was that person. I wasn't shocked. But then there was a little twist towards the end of the movie that I really didn't see coming. I won't really go into spoilers. Like, I know a lot of you probably don't care, but still, I don't want to be like that for Fear Street Prom Queen. Bloody bugs. Ugh. The distractions around here are so irritating, guys. I think I need a studio. I did. Alright. Yeah, so Fear Street Prom Queen. It was alright. On to the next one. Paddington in Peru. The third and I think final film in this trilogy about this bear. I love the first two movies so much. I think they are super charming and just brilliant little British flicks. The character of Paddington is awesome. He's just very, very adorable and fluffy and very charming. And this third one, not quite. Oh, excuse me. Not quite as good as the previous two. It wasn't directed by Paul King. I think he was off maybe doing Wonka. And I'd say this wasn't as good as Wonka, really. I mean, to be fair, again, different director on Paddington 3. But I think, I'm trying to think, I was trying to think, maybe Paul King was involved somehow. I don't know. I know he didn't direct it, but he might have been involved in like a producer role. I have no idea. I'm just taking a wild guess, really. But I don't know. This one didn't have as much charm as the previous two. I feel like the villains in this film were pretty cookie cutter and a bit eh. But, and the Peru setting, I kind of felt like, I was missing the vibes of the UK and London and stuff like that. But you know what? Paddington was still as charming as hell, and the family was great, and there's still a lot of fun sequences, and it wraps the story up very, very well. It was cool, to see Paddington go and look for his great Aunt Lucy, and then, come across his tribe of bears, and you think he's going to stay. And I thought for sure, he's going to stay. He's not going to go back with his family. But he does. And I thought it was a really charming ending to this little trilogy. I don't think there needs to be another one. If there is, I think that at that point, what else could you really do? I will say, it was a little bit different, to set it in Peru. But, I got to give it credit for that. But, I missed the vibes of the UK and the city of London. So maybe if they did a TV series, continuation, maybe I could see that working for Netflix or something. But I'd say overall it's still pretty good. I enjoyed it. I didn't hate watching it. I liked it. It's just the first two are so much better. Now, let's move on to Lilo and Stitch. Let me just check how I'm going. Alright, I've said this a few times in previous episodes, I will try and keep it short, but don't be surprised if I go on forever. So, Lilo and Stitch. Now, I have to say first that I adore the original animated Lilo and Stitch movie. I think it is fantastic. I love the characters. I love the story. Stitch is just a brilliant little creature. I love the messages about family and stuff like that. And it's just a really wacky, fun Disney movie. It might be probably my second or third favorite animated Disney film. So, with this new one coming out, I was more excited for it than most people were. And overall, the live-action Lilo and Stitch, in my own personal opinion, was great. I had so much fun with this movie. The audience I was with had a lot of fun. It's a great movie. It doesn't come close to the original movie, but for me, it does capture the essence and the charm of the original movie. Now, the biggest issues that I think this film does face is that it does feel a little bit rushed. The pacing's a little bit rushed in some aspects, and they do change some stuff from the story. They do take a character out. I can't remember the name of him, but him kind of missing from this version of the film does... They have to change the plot a little bit and kind of rearrange stuff. But it doesn't bother me, really. I think the story is still there. You know, the message is still there about Ohana and, you know, means family, you know, means no one gets left behind. I love that message, and I think it's still here. It really is. Stitch is still great. He looks pretty solid. I love the actress who plays Lilo. I think that little young actress, she's got a very bright future ahead of her. I do like Jumba. I think that's his name. And Pleakley. That's Billy McGusson or Magoosin or some crap like that. You got Courtney B. Vance as Cobra Bubbles. I did not know that he played Jim in the original, or in the Huckleberry Finn movie. Shameless plug, do check that episode out of the podcast, please. But, yeah, no, I really love this movie. It was so fun, man. Like, the music was great. Hearing the music from the original movie, they recreated certain shots very, very well. Chris Sanders, who voices Stitch, he's still so good. I'm so glad they got him to come back, as no one else can do that voice like he can. There's even a couple of scenes added in this movie that weren't in the original. One, you know, involving when Stitch gets to Earth, he goes and destroys a wedding. Essentially, he sees a wedding cake and he's like, I want that wedding cake. And he goes for it. I thought that was really cool. I thought the little, like, the bullies in the beginning of the movie, they were way harsher to Lilo in this one. The actress who plays Nani does a really good job. I actually found out, I think a day or two after I saw this movie, I watched like a bunch of interviews and I looked her up. Turns out she's the same age as me. Like, she was born a month after me, which is wild. And it's I think it's her first role. That's crazy. That's wild to me. Yeah. It's by far, this one is probably my favorite Disney live action movie, without a doubt. It was much better than Snow White, which I enjoyed Snow White, but this was so much better. This, like, feel like it, you know, had had weight and substance to it, and a lot of charm throughout the movie. I think it's just the climax for me in this one didn't work as well as the original. Again, because you are missing that one particular character, it doesn't work as well. And I do think there is one scene in this movie in particular that was a little bit... I was like, whoa, we're already here? What? Which is the scene where they're all going surfing, and Jumba and Maclean, whatever his name is, they attempt to get Stitch, and they had like this big little crash in the water. Lilo's going down, and Stitch is dragging it down. And I'm like in the animated movie, it takes a little bit to get to there. And at some point in the movie, when we got to that point in this new movie, I'm like, whoa, we're already here? Like, what? So I think the biggest issues for me is some of the pacing and certain scenes aren't done as well, or they're not as long as they should be. Overall, the new Lilo and Stitch, for me, was pretty great. I hope a sequel happens, and I think it's already in talks. I think this movie's going to do pretty well at the box office, I hope. I really do. And I'd say go see it. I really liked this movie. I loved it even. Like, it was a really fun family movie. I'd highly recommend you see it. I really do. I think if you like the original, you're going to get some enjoyment out of this. And even if you don't like this movie, you have to admit Stitch is done so well, and the actress playing Lilo is fantastic. Yeah, I guess that will do it for this episode of the Porter Says podcast. Thank you once again for tuning in. You know, the usual: like, share, subscribe, with your friends and your family, and check out my other episodes if this is the first time you're finding me. Check out the little clips I post on TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that, and check out my Letterboxd, and yeah. So before I go, I will say that I will be seeing Karate Kid Legends next Wednesday. It comes out next Thursday in Australia officially, but the cinema I go to is doing an advanced screening, so of course I'm going to go to that. Man, it's such a shame, because so far I'm seeing a decent amount of negative reception to that movie. I think I'm going to be in the minority about it. I really do. So yeah, I will be reviewing that. Obviously, if I see it next week, I probably won't review it until the week after in the episode. And also maybe in that episode expect a ranking of all the Karate Kid movies. Because I obviously was rewatching them. So look forward to that. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evening and Friday, and a good weekend, and expect this to be up on the weekend. If you want to start your again, it won't be up until 4 p.m. Saturday, so if you're looking for something to watch before you go out and do whatever you want, look forward to it. So I'll catch you guys next time.